Hi, this is Billy Brown. I'm a nature writer with Grid Magazine and with phillynature.org. And I like to say that I start birding before I get out of bed every morning. I open my eyes, I wake up, and then immediately I hear birds. I hear the chirping of sparrows outside. I hear maybe a cardinal singing in the tree down the block. I'll hear the twittering of chimney swifts flying overhead. Depending on the season, I might hear Canada geese honking as they fly overhead in like big V formations on their way to, down south or the way back up north. All of this is stuff that I've started observing just by what I'm hearing. A lot of birding, although we think of, walking around with our binoculars and peering into trees, actually a lot of the way you can observe birds is with your ears. Birds are often noisy creatures. They communicate a lot with sound. And so once you start to get a little bit of a feel for those sounds that they make, then you can learn a lot about what they're doing, where they are, what birds they are, all that sort of stuff. Right now I'm listening to a Warbling Vireo that is kind of making a doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo kind of song, and it's flying around sort of somewhere off to the right of where I'm standing right now. Right there, I would know that if I wanted to take a closer look at this bird, I'd know where to point my binoculars, right? So right there, hearing a bird and what it's doing can clue you in to where it might be so you can take a closer look. Birds singing also can help you tell different birds apart. For example, in Philadelphia, we've got two kinds of crows that are really common. We have fish crows, we have American crows. They look pretty much identical. So the way you can tell if you're looking at a fish crow versus an American crow is how it sounds. American crows have a caw that's like the classic crow caw that you might hear. Fish crows are kind of more nasal. They're kind of like caw, caw, caw. And so when you hear one or the other, that's how you know which of those crows you're looking at. You couldn't tell it just by looking at it. And then I'll say that a lot of birds you might not be able to observe very easily by seeing them. They're really good at staying hidden. They don't want to get eaten by a kestrel or by a sharp-shinned hawk, so they don't come out in the open much if they can avoid it. But they still sing, they still call. And so a bird like that Warbling Vireo that I've been talking about, they're kind of hard to spot if you're looking for them. They stay under leaves when they're hunting for bugs and stuff like that. You can be out by a creek right now. We're at Cobbs Creek at the edge of West Philadelphia. Around a lot of our waterways, you can hear those Warbling Vireos, and even if you don't see them, you know they're there and you know they're singing to defend their territory, to call for mates, all that kind of fun stuff. We've been talking a lot about, especially with these Warbling Vireos, for example, about their songs. And I'm not going to get too far into this, but birds make noises for different reasons, right? So songs are a lot of what they might do to defend territory, to attract mates, that kind of thing. They also make lots of little noises. Those can be alarm calls, like, hey guys, look out, there's a human, or there's a cat, or there's a hawk. Everybody be careful. They can be little noises that they make back and forth to each other so they can keep track of where they are. So cardinals, when they sing, they have a song that sounds kind of like ray guns in like a sci-fi movie. It's like pew, 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 pew. But then when cardinals, when they're moving around, a pair of them, a male and a female, or like a small family group, they make what are called chip notes. It sounds kind of like, I just read this, kind of like two marbles clinking together. And so you can be there and you can be in your garden like I am sometimes, and I hear that like chip, 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 chip. And then you know that there are cardinals around you somewhere and you can go look around, you can find them. And so there's an example of how the sounds that they make can clue you into the kind of stuff that they're doing and where they are. Birding by ear is also a way that we can open up birding and nature observation to people who might have visual impairments. You don't actually strictly need your eyes or need to be using your eyes to observe birds and learn about them, learn about biodiversity where we are. Now, if you would like to learn more about birding by ear, there's a lot of great resources online. If you want to do kind of old school, you can invest in some CDs that'll teach you about birdsong. You can also go on to any bird ID website like Cornell's All About Birds, and there you can listen to their songs and their calls. There's all kinds of online bird quizzes that you can use to sort of get better at hearing them. And really one of the best ways to do it is get out there, and when you see a bird, pay attention to what kind of sounds it's making. You can also go on a bird walk. BirdPhilly.org offers bird walks year-round, and anytime you get out there with birders who are more experienced than you are, they can point out the different sounds that they're hearing, That's a good way to learn them. I'd say even if you don't learn all the songs right away and all the sounds right away, knowing that there are birds around you doing interesting things is a nice next step in learning about them and learning about how they fit in to our ecosystems here throughout the city. So I'd like to thank Cobbs Creek Environmental Center and Parks and Recreation for giving us a wonderful place to shoot this video and providing really great nature learning opportunities for Philadelphians all across the city, actually. This has been a production of Grid Magazine and PhillyNature.org. To learn more about nature in Philadelphia, check out PhillyNature.org, and if you'd like to support it, consider making a donation. And of course, subscribe to Grid Magazine and support environmental journalism right here in Philadelphia. Thanks.